Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Serious Angler Podcast. This is the Seriously Western segment powered by our friends over at Amped Outdoors. Folks, if you are in the market for a lithium battery, I actually talked to some friends that were at this tournament that we're going to discuss that are now in the market for lithium batteries, and of course, recommended our friends over at Amped. Um, it's a lot nowadays, I think, something that isn't talked about enough when you are looking with your electronics. Of course, I always recommend having a electronic dedicated battery, but also on the trolling motor side of things, it's important to have a trolling motor that that you are going to be able to have power in all day at full speed if you are looking on these big open bodies of water with forward facing sonar. You run out of gas not doing it. I've played with the whole, AGM lead acid things. Just saying, the lithium's just a better technology, and it's worthwhile doing. They last longer. There's so many benefits. So, anyways, check out our friends over at Amped Outdoors. But today's show, we have on Mr. Brennan Osborn, young gun, 21 years old, still in college at Simpson University out west, and he just won the BAM Pro-Am on Lake Almanor, and it's a great show. Can't wait to get into things and show you guys what Brennan has to say. But sharp young man is a hammer when it comes to this stuff. I've seen him fishing. I see him always in the top 10 whenever I'm fishing against him. I know that. So, anyways, good to see the W on a young guy like that. Can't wait to see what the rest of his career looks like. So tune into the show. All right. And now we are joined by the man himself, Mr. Brennan Osborn, winner of Lake Almanor Pro-Am Championship 2025. BAM. The first, this is presumably kind of the biggest Pro-Am championship that we've seen in a little while on the West Coast, in my mind, maybe outside of One Bass or certain things like that. But dude, how does it feel? Has it set in yet?
It's started to. It's been a couple days now, but it's been absolutely unreal. By far the biggest tournament result I've ever had. So, just to support roaring in, both from my family, a bunch of local guys I know up from Oregon, and just all over, meeting tons of people at the ramp, at Almanor. It's been absolutely wild. I mean, I got the trophy sitting right here above me, so just getting to wake up and look at that thing every day, it's been crazy. It's wild to take in. That was a really stacked field and got tons of respect for all those guys. So really cool how we made that week work.
Absolutely, man. Well, we'll get into that stuff in a bit, but first I want to hear just about yourself. College angler currently. We're seeing a lot of this right across the country where you're seeing college kids hop into Toyota Series or Bassmaster Opens, or out here, BAM, One Bass, those sorts of things while they're going to school. What did your 2021 season look like? And you're a senior this upcoming year, is that right?
I'm a
Or this
senior right
year?
now.
Right
Right
now.
now,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. We'll talk a little bit about your season up to this point.
Yeah, I started, so I kind of took the reins kind of the pro side of things. I made the choice pretty much in November. We were going out to the Bridgeford like business meeting they have every year, and I was talking to my dad like, "Hey, it's kind of my last year and kind of on the fence." And he just kind of leaned in and he's like, "Hey, we're giving you full support. This is on you if you want to do it. Like, take the reins and really go for it." So I was like, "Hey, this is my shot. I'm down here. I'm close to these lakes, so." We pushed and got into that first Shasta Pro Am and pretty much took it from there. I was kind of bouncing around. I had a shot to definitely do better at Shasta than I did. I ended up coming in a minute late on day one, which cost me like 10 or
Gosh,
12
dude.
spots. You can't do that in a tournament where you're catching less than 15 pounds a day. So that hurt me bad. And then we got a good tournament. Number two was Don Pedro. I top 10 in that one. I think I ended in seventh. That was my third time ever being there. So that was definitely a cool deal.
Yeah.
And I figured my best shot to qualify was going to be going through the Travelers division they have, which is
Mhm.
fishing 4 out of the 5 pro-am tournaments. So we did potholes, which was by far my worst tournament. It was my first time up there, and I was really out of my wheelhouse. And got I think I kind of got like mentally spun out in that tournament. Just didn't find the quality till it was a little bit too late. So I ended up I think like 48th or something, just sucking in that tournament. So I knew I was hurting for points and kind of just right on the cusp of getting in. The last one for the season was going to be Boardman, and I'd fished there, a handful of times. I've got a lot more experience down on the lower river. Um, but I went up in practice, had a good practice up there. I think we ended in 16th, which was good enough to get second in the Travelers division to qualify for this tournament. And I knew it was kind of going to be the full send once I got down to school. Like, we're going to have a couple cracks to go out and practice. And this is the position I wanted to put myself in. We worked all season for it and squeaked in there. But Almanor was a totally new lake for me. So 2.5, I guess about 2.5 weeks ago now, me and my buddy Quinn went out there to practice and just kind of set eyes on the lake for the first time and kind of got a good visual of it and ended up finding the bite we rode out for the whole tournament, which was at Dice about halfway through the day, and ended up catching like 22 pounds the first day of practice, which was by far and away the most I had seen through all those like Western Bass forums and all that stuff in my pre-research. And I was like, man, that's a good
That's
bag for this
nuts.
lake.
I think if I remember right, I saw didn't you make a post or something with that on Instagram?
Yeah, I
Like
had a little
got
story thrown up there.
the story or something, and I was
Yeah.
like I've been talking to some guys pre-practicing, right, and doing that sort of thing. I was like, wow, do you think this is real? Like, like that's a heck of a
Yeah.
bag. That's so sick, dude.
Well, it's a good little bit of mind games. Like, I try not to do it too much, but one of my other buddies, Chad Schweitzer, had been out there for quite some time, and he pretty much fueled the fire for that one. He's posting, 19, 19 and a half, close to 20. I'm like, all right, we got to one up Chad and be like, hey, we smacked 22 today, so let's
That's
throw that
so
up there and let him think about it for a minute.
I'm good.
Um,
I'm good friends with Chad. I can't wait to tell him that. I mean, you probably already talked to him about
Oh
this.
yeah,
That's
and what's funny is talking to him about it after he knew that he was throwing the same bait as me, and he
right.
knew more likely than not I had figured it out, and we ended up catching up after the tournament. And he's like, "Dude, we had like the identical practice, which is just down to like the color of the same exact bait. Everything that we were doing was
Wow.
identical." So kind
Wow.
of kind of coincidental we figured it out like that tight, for as much different things as we could have been doing. But yeah, it was a cool deal. So we went into that tournament feeling pretty good, but also, I mean, everybody's had enough of those practices where it feels like the stars are aligning, and then it's almost your mindset changes of like, all right, what am I going to do that's going to mess this up, because it feels too good to be true. So
Right. Well, and I guess maybe talk a little bit about like the time of year that we're in. Did you feel like that those fish were still in a summer pattern? Were they kind of coming to a fall pattern? Like where was your head at on what they were doing?
it seemed kind of in between to me. That
Okay.
lake's definitely up there in elevation, so it doesn't quite get as hot, but it got bright and sunny for all of pre-practice, and then we kind of had a front that rolled through during the tournament.
Hmm.
So I knew it was going to mess with them a little bit, but when it was sunny out, like, we were throwing our baits at these fish on live, just kind of roaming down these flats, and they would react to it almost instantly and come up and pop it off the surface or, a couple feet down. So I knew there was a good reaction and we weren't going to have to really like sit on them. So that part made me feel good inside. Like, all right, we can just kind of go keep the boat moving and do that type deal. But they weren't deep either, which I don't really know what to think about that. I mean, I guess
Like
I
the fish weren't like you're saying the fish weren't suspended deep, or you mean they just weren't in deep water in general?
just not in deep water in general. I
Okay.
mean, pretty much the entire week for me was about 14 foot or less, and the majority, honestly, like 11 and less.
Wow. Wow. So fairly shallow flats,
Yeah,
is what they were on.
yeah.
Interesting. And
They
they
come out
wouldn't
a
eat
long
it.
ways too.
And they wouldn't eat a top water or other things like that.
Just I mean, they would eat a lot of things, but just the consistency was like 15 to 1. I mean, it wasn't even close. So that first day of practice, we ended up seeing Chad out there on the water and talked to him for a while, and we were sucking. Like it was about midday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got 17, 19, whatever," and he's blasting them. And me and my buddy Quinn go up to him and we're like, "We got like 4 pounds right now. What's going on?" But I had gotten one real just giant blow up out of a stump in like 5 foot of water. And I was like, all right, there might be something to it. And it was a giant one, real big one. But that was kind of our first piece of the puzzle. And then I kind of had to get it out of my mind that Chad had been blasting them all morning and we were not doing good. So, um, yeah, it was a weird deal. Like we threw pretty much the kitchen sink at them, and they would follow pretty much everything, and that's what I think messed with a lot of people's head in the tournament, that
Mhm.
they were getting the start of the reaction they wanted. The fishes wouldn't follow through. So I think a lot of guys were getting caught up doing whatever they were trying to force them to bite, but we just had to keep rotating until we got them to actually go 100%.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So you were one rod Todd, you had the dice, and that's
Yeah.
all you did all week.
Yep. Every single one of them.
I love it. How did you rig this thing?
So I went between a size 1 and a size 2, like Nico wacky hook.
Like a
Um,
Kagami Nico Wacky hook or which one?
the size 2 was a Gami, the size 1 was the Ryugi,
Okay.
the Talisman.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then I had a little VMC like crossover spring. Just I would thread it into the bait instead of
Yep.
just like hooking through the plastic. You get a little more hook exposure and it makes the bait last longer. 'Cause it sucks to keep re-rigging them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had some like 1/32 nail weights in the boat, and I was clipping them into about thirds, and I'd pop them in the bait. So I mean, 1/96 of an ounce, I guess, something like that.
Okay.
And then I would just load it up with scent all day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Now are you willing to share which dice you were throwing and which scent? And feel free to be like, nah, man, but I'm gonna ask the questions. Remove
yeah. It was the big G crack dice. I mean, anybody who goes on the BAM Instagram or whatever, you can see it clear as day. So there's no point in me trying to hide it.
right.
And it's all situational. I think there's enough of them now where you're gonna have to get pretty specific, I guess, but there's different ones for different situations. I think that's probably the best one for that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was throwing the smallmouth crush Procure scent.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I would just keep that thing loaded up all day.
Interesting. Okay. And I haven't used that scent. Is it a powder? Is it a gel? What is
It's
it?
the gel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. I mean, and we've had plenty of biologists on. Like it's a proven deal with smallmouth, like the whole scent thing. And I get
Totally.
lazy and sometimes don't always do it. And so it's a
It's
good
hard.
reminder.
It's hard, and that stuff smells terrible too, so, like, once you get it on your hands and on your clothes and stuff, it's not good. Like, I need to honestly, if I was being real thorough, I should take my bibs and, like, go hang them up in the drive-through car wash and, like, spray them off because they smell atrocious, but I just haven't done it yet, so
They
but
smell atrocious.
yeah, bad, real bad.
Oh man, not a good idea to go fish a derb with a bunch of scent on and then go like eat a burger after or go on a date
No.
with a girl after. Like you're in trouble. Like it's bad,
No,
bad
definitely
idea.
not. You gotta keep them separate 100%.
Two separate things we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Dang man. Okay, well walk us through the derb in itself. Did you have to make adjustments at all? I mean, you led this thing wire to wire. You were a heavy leader. I was really paying attention to it. I unfortunately fished two pro am events. I did not fish
Mhm.
Shasta in the beginning, and so I wasn't at this derby, but I just wanted to follow along. A lot of buddies, obviously, in it, and it was fun to see you on the top of the leaderboard every freaking day, man.
Yeah, it was wild. So we had basically the big consideration in my mind was watching the forecast. And I was talking to a lot of guys about it too. Like it started with the pre-tournament meeting. We had to be down in Chester, which is the little town right there, between I don't know, like 4:30 to 6 or something like that. And you could feel the front really roll in, which was forecasted to, but prior to
At the
that, it was
meeting.
like upper 70s, low 80s, super sunny, just perfect smallmouth weather for doing what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
So I knew I was like, more than likely, it's gonna mess with them a little bit. So I got to keep kind of an open mind. So I tried to kind of rig ahead of it to kind of cut my adjustment time down in the tournament because I knew it was gonna be crunch time. You know, you got a field full of hammers that are doing the same thing as me. So whatever I can do to give myself that extra 30 minutes of having the right thing tied on or whatever. So I noticed when it did get cloudy in practice, I was throwing primarily like straight green pumpkin. It would almost disappear in the water because the water would get so dark.
Mm.
So I changed up my dice on day one. I was throwing brown and it had some white strands in it, just a little bit more contrast. That was the only adjustment I had to make. I kept the same weight and hook, leader, all that stuff all throughout the tournament, but when it got overcast, I'd throw the brown white, let it sink a little bit more because they weren't willing to rise quite as much. Um, so yeah, day one, I kind of I didn't have quite the same movement of those fish. Like I was saying, they weren't moving quite as much as I wanted to, so I had to go put it in front of more of them. I felt like just because the weather wasn't really playing into the way I wanted to catch them.
You mean moving
Um,
towards the bait, like when it hit the
yeah,
water?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were sitting low, and that was kinda what I was talking about earlier too, those ones I'd have to sink it like 12, 14 foot, kinda get it in that column, to get them to move on it. Um, but yeah, I mean, if I could show you my map, it's just like almost completely black of me running around that lake. So with the trails, but I had a bunch of 4 pound waypoints from practice, so I bounced between every one, just trying to give myself the most chances at catching a big one. And I was just able to kind of pull one here, one there. You know, got lucky, caught a big one where I hadn't caught a big one in practice, and just kind of kept the boat moving. And so we ended
Wow.
up 2196 on day one, and I had come in, I think I was boat 26, and I was looking up there. I watched Bryant go on stage, put 20 up there, watched Logan go up, put 20 on there. And I was like, oh man, like these guys are catching them too. It's not special what I'm doing if there's 20s, like I'm watching them go up there. So I didn't know I quite had 21. I thought I was going to be like maybe second or third, just kind of a mid 20 bag.
Mhm.
'Cause that's what my Bubba said. So I was like, all right, we got a shot. So I told Michael, like, hey, you can just let me go last. And, um, he got some cameras rolling and everything. We ended up dropping almost 22 on there.
Let's
I kind
go.
of surprised myself. I was like, we caught him today. So um, the pressure really came on. You start getting people up at the ramp like, "Hey, good job." Pressure's on. Text from home and everybody
Mm.
watching the live stream at home. So, not being in this position before, it definitely kind of threw me for a loop. Just kind of having to deal with that for the first time on a like pretty big stage.
Big stage.
Yeah. And then so day two, the front rolled out and it opened back up. The sky opened up for me. We had some clouds in the morning, and I bounced around to some stuff that I was saving and was hoping to have big ones on it, and it just wasn't working. And at the time, I had kind of a mediocre. I had like 17 in there, and I was like, these guys, multiple 20s up on stage yesterday. These guys are gonna catch them again, so I got to do the same. And I don't know, just the inner Columbia smallmouth inside me told me like, "Hey, the sun's out. It's like 11:30. Just go, go all the way up there. I need to get up on the bank."
Get
So,
to the bank, baby. I
yeah.
love it.
So the water got super duper clean, and I could see the bottom. It was almost like we were fishing a Great Lakes deal up there, where you could see the whole bottom in like 6 or 7 foot, just clear as day. And I pulled up on the inside. There's kind of like a saddle on this flat point, and I threw up there to a fish I saw just kind of poking his head out of the rocks. And the first fish I caught up shallow is that 494. It's the biggest one I caught all tournament. And I was like, all right, this is kind of that like momentum swing we need. This is the decision making that's coming into play to kind of make it happen. So threw
Dude,
that one in the box.
that is a huge thing right there. Like, I wanna emphasize that. Like, realizing that that was the change for you, right? To like give yourself a shot to win here is
Yeah.
like in any multi-day tournament, you've got to make an adjustment like that
Yeah.
to be able to win. And it sounds like it's cool that you were able to pick that out as kind of like the key moment in that moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that one that one was a major goal for me, and it got me up there. I think I had over 18 at that point, and I still had some I knew I had to get out just to even give myself a cushion or just to maintain. So I started going down, got over the saddle, and just started going down this flat bank, and I ended up hooking another big one that I saw on live cruising down, and it was another 4 pounder. And I was like, all right, like they're here big time. So I ended up dropping the poles, cold out for a minute, just kind of regrouped. I had to catch my breath a little bit because it was getting intense up there. I was getting warm, take the jacket off, put it away. I'm sweating. Um, and ended up doing it a couple more times. I went a couple hundred yards down this bank and caught like three more 4 pounders. I ended up culling like a 4.2 for a 4.5, and it got crazy and my heart was just thumping, like I could just feel it like about coming out of my chest like 12 o'clock. um
Was there
and
anyone else fishing that shallow? Like were other guys sliding up like that?
I mean, I was about hitting my boat on the bottom, and I just couldn't. I don't think anyone was quite up there. Like
Mhm.
I could see, I think there was another boat maybe 400 yards down from me. I think maybe Joey Walton was back behind me too, because I was kind of paying attention, like making sure these guys weren't fully seeing the chaos going on up there. But uh yeah, they were sitting out throwing at like suspenders or something out there, I think on those bait balls, which was definitely going on. But no, I don't think anybody quite went to the length I did to get up there.
I love it, man. Spoken like a true smallmouth, Columbia River, St. Lawrence, Lake Ontario, like all of it. I love it.
Yeah. When that sun comes out, you gotta do it. You gotta go all the way up there and at least take a peek. So
Mhm.
that was a game changer, and we had that 2270 bag at about 12:30, and there were still a bunch more roamers up there. So I was like, "Hey man, like I told my co, we got to get off this stuff now. It's 2270 or, whatever I thought I had in there. I knew it was all over 4. We got to get out of here. Like I'm not going to make a
Smart.
significant difference, and I can't afford to burn these fish for tomorrow. I'm going to have like a real shot now. We got to go."
Mhm.
So quit throwing at them and quit educating them to it. So we got out of there, and I pretty much nervously shook my way through the rest of the day, just kind of looking around, and didn't make anything else happen. It was going to be hard to upgrade like a 4 1/4 out of there.
Yep.
So that day we flipped order and I weighed in pretty early. And Ed actually made me sit at the tank for like 6 guys more than I was supposed to, just to probably make me sweat a little bit more, which I'm sure he enjoyed.
Yep.
Um, so then I had like almost a 3 pound cushion. And people are calling me like Ty, he's like, "Oh, this is yours to lose now, so don't mess it up." And
Gotcha.
pressure was on. It was big time. So I got some sleep eventually. I think it took till like 11 o'clock, but we got to bed and pretty similar conditions the last day. But those fish were really starting to feel it. I could tell, and I missed a few big ones that morning, like 3 in a row. I ended up having to change back to that size 1 hook just to get them pinned for whatever reason. I have no idea why.
Hmm.
Still throwing the green pumpkin because the sun was out, and just I don't know. I just had a weird day and honestly a bad vibe throughout the tournament day. Like very early, the
Really?
camera boat came up. I was missing them like crazy, and they got cameras zoomed in on me just acting a fool up there. I broke one off, big one, just
Oh,
snapped him off when I said the hook, and I was throwing 12-pound leader that it was brand new. It's like, how does that even happen? So
wow.
I was getting unlucky, and about midday, same thing. Sun was beating down on us. We took the jacket off. It's like, all right, when the jacket comes off, you got to go up shallow. Like
There
it's
we
warming up.
go. Yeah.
So put the jacket away. We went up. I saw another boat a couple hundred yards in front of me, but I got up on another flat point that I don't even know if I fished in practice, but it just had the right look, and it was close enough to where I caught them yesterday. And I put the scope up super shallow and saw a stump in like 4 foot. with a big, big blob behind it. So we launched it over there. I watched him just come out nice and slow and take the dice down and just go right back into the bottom of the stump. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Like a 1 power edge spinning rod versus a big blob in a stump. This is probably not going to end well, but we'll find out. So I leaned back into it, and my line's just like, rubbing the wood, and I could feel him just banging around in there and going nuts. So I kicked the trolling motor up full blast and zoomed over there, got over the back of it, and we pulled him out. And it was at 4.5. It was just a giant one, just completely changed the game. I'm sure whoever was in front of me, I think it was Asher Haynes, could probably hear me yell. So sorry for making a scene and disturbing the scenery up there, but when you catch a big one at midday, that one changed the game.
Dude, that's
Um,
awesome. I mean, was that the winning fish for you? Did you think like, okay, I've got a I've got a good chance now, or what was
that
the
one
take?
that one called me up at least a pound and a half, so it was a
Wow.
huge difference maker. Definitely the anchor of the bag. But I had one big mistake at the end of the day that really stuck with me all the way through weigh-ins.
Mm,
So there was this big island close to the dam. It's where I think Bryant fished the majority of the tournament. Jake Boomer was over there, Chris Parks, Randy Pearson. They were all kind of mobbing all over this island, just fishing cruisers on top of it. And I pulled up because I needed another big one. I knew there was just tons of them all over this island, and I got kind of in between Chris and Bryant. I see this one, just one mark. I think Bryant had probably caught 90 fish there between the 2 days before. So he wore them out pretty good. But I saw the mark I wanted to see and threw over to it out on the side of the island and sunk the dice down to like 15, 16 foot and watched her eat it. Pulled back, and it was a giant one, just real big. And I think they're both of those guys, Chris and Brian, were like 150 yards away from me. And I ended up getting it just right outside the net, like 2 feet outside the net, and she just lets go of it right in front of me. And it was bad. I don't know if time slowed down, like if it's just me or if the fish did, but it literally just felt like it sat there just completely still and did not move for like 3 seconds. But it was probably just me just
oh,
being mortified to watch, 4.5 or 5 pounder just sit there and turn back down and go back down. And so it was super disheartening. I knew both of them more likely than not had just seen it happen too. So I was like, man, if I just got that bite, if they're up here right now, Bryant's probably just trashing them. And I knew I didn't have the bag of what I did the first 2 days, so my cushion was like starting to have to come into play, and I was starting to like worry about it a little bit. So I picked my rod back up. I didn't flip out as bad as I like wanted to on the inside, but it it just felt to me like all the culmination of the events of the day did not feel like I was earning it.
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Normally you don't hear that, right? I mean, like normally it's when it's your time and everything
yeah,
goes right.
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was like, he's probably got 5 of those things swimming in that Skeeter live well over there, and I don't. So I thought it was gonna be just crazy close. And so we end up fishing the rest of the day and come in. My family drove down. Quinn and his girlfriend came out. My girlfriend was there. So the pressure was on. I had to show out for the home crew and a bunch of people watching on live and everything. So it's like, man, I hope I got this thing. Um, so I didn't truly know what Bryant had till we were up at the scale, and Jake
Yeah.
was standing next to him asking me, what do you got? What do you got? And I was like, oh, I think I might have like 19. I knew Logan was right behind Bryant and he had a good bag too, but they're all like, "Oh, you got it. You got it." But I don't know, something inside me was just like, "Ugh, I don't know. I don't know." So, they gave me the full suspense. They let me go up and talk and then sit back by the tank the whole time and watch everyone else go put them up there. And we ended up pulling through, but the last couple hours of day 3 was probably if I had a blood pressure monitor, I think I would have set like some sort of record.
It was up
Yeah, it was
there.
bad. It was real bad.
Dude, well, that's awesome, and that's cool to see the fam come down from Oregon, and everybody be there. And
Yeah.
man, like, I mean, you won a freaking boat. At how old are you?
I'm 21.
That's so sick. How
Yeah.
cool is that, man?
Insane.
That is really really awesome. Well, what are you gonna do with the boat? I guess that's a question. I mean, we're talking. What was it? Is it what model bass cat was it?
It's a Pantera.
Okay,
So it's 19 and a half footer with a 200. It's a nice boat. So I just went and got a bunch of pictures taken of it yesterday. I got it back to school and in the team unit because our boys were just at Kentucky, so the team boat's not in there right now. Um, but I got a bunch of pictures taken. We're gonna list it here pretty shortly. And hopefully, if anyone wants to buy a Pantera, a nice rig, it's a pretty boat. You know who to call.
yeah, there
But
we go.
we'll be listing that thing, and hopefully she goes to a new owner that's ready to go get a dub and in a new rig.
Heck yeah, man. I like it. I like it. Well, now, so I mean, you've got senior year, everything's rocking and rolling. College fishing, I would assume. What are the plans for the rest of, I guess, your college career, fishing career? What are you aspiring to do, man?
Yeah, I guess to finish out the college year in a couple weeks, we're getting ready to go to Arkansas. So the boat is not getting much of a break in terms of that. We're gonna go put some miles on her and go try and catch them at Dardanelle.
Dardanelle, man. Cool.
Um, but I'm gonna fish a bunch of the local, all the Phil's stuff again this year, around NorCal, and then probably another big back east tournament in the spring for college, and then we got some things in the works that could be happening. I know for sure we're gonna do the pro-ams for BAM again next year.
Nice.
I'm gonna try and swing one bass if I can.
Hmm.
Hopefully do the I don't know if I'm gonna be able to swing the US Open this year just because I didn't plan ahead enough to get it done, and I think it's getting tight now. It'd be back to back Mojave and then Dardanelle, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
But hopefully I think we'll swing it next year, and try and build a legit schedule, but there might be more things to come even than that. But as much as I can do, we should be graduating in May and
Hmm.
hopefully fishing a ton of tournaments next year. That's the goal, as much as I can fit.
Got it. Got it. So fishing, just all of it,
All
all
out.
that you can.
Yeah.
Now, any aspirations like back east, staying west? What are you graduating with? Any career stuff or just straight fishing? What do we got going?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be pre-law, get my bachelor's in poli sci once I graduate. So I have kind of
Cool.
the option. That was the backup plan, but if I can make this work, this is definitely what I want to do.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be pretty meticulous about planning to go back east, but that's definitely on the list for me.
Yeah.
I'm definitely open to it. So we gotta talk to mom and pop about that and make that work. But for sure we'll do the West Coast stuff. If not, either way, I'm gonna be trying to fish at the highest level wherever I'm at and trying to qualify. I'm always staying hungry for the next thing. So um it's all out there. I got a lot of work to do between now and then to kind of figure all the logistics of everything out, but it's good work to have.
I like it, man. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see what all comes of that in 2026. Sure, we'll run into each other at a derby somewhere
100%.
along the way, man. So I'm planning on fishing. Certainly the pro am schedule, one of the pro am schedules, as well as the 60. So I'll be at Shasta or wherever else things will be for 2026.
Yeah, that'll be a good deal.
Yeah. Well, cool. Man, anything else that you want to share for the folks at home? How can they follow along with your journey here? I mean, dude, young, getting after it, hammer, ready to see it all light the world on fire.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Both my socials, my Facebook and Instagram, are both Brennan Osborn Fishing. So I got a nice camera too, and I got to put the effort through. But hopefully, we'll be starting up at least some YouTube stuff, or I don't know, some sort of video content stuff. It should all be under the same thing. So stay posted for that. But Facebook and Instagram for now.
Okay.
Definitely, I want to shout out Edge Rods. They've been backing me for the last couple years. Tom was the one that got me on that program, so I appreciate you, Tom, for having the faith in me. If anyone needs a rod hookup, anyone wants to know anything about those things, they are the best rods on the planet. They definitely just showed their capabilities for me this last week. So definitely shout out to Edge. Shout out to Bridgeford too. They support BAM. They're definitely trying to make a wave in
Mm-hmm.
the West Coast. So they support my school as well. So anyone who's getting ready to go in the outdoors, definitely go support the brand that supports the outdoors. Get yourself some Bridgeford meat products. But everyone, I'm super thankful. It's hard to group everyone up because there's so many people, and I couldn't even begin to name them all. But just everyone for supporting me. My teammates, everyone back home, all the people I met at this tournament. You guys for having me on the podcast. I think it's a super neat deal. So my girlfriend for coming out. She's been a big supporter of me, and she's dealt with a lot of me in tournament mode for a long time now. So she's put up with quite a lot. So definitely appreciate her for doing that. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride, and I'm just real excited to see where this thing goes. So I'm gonna stay hungry and keep after it, keep my foot on the gas.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, you'll have at some point when you sell this boat a nice check and a nice launch pad for 2026 and beyond. So that's always cool to see and to have that backing and support as well as everything else that you've got going on. So, man, I'm looking forward to watch it all happen. And thanks for taking the time out to come on our show, man. All right, folks, that wraps things up with our Seriously Western segment with Mr. Brennan Osborn. Cool to see. Really did a deep dive. Really appreciate his transparency on what he was doing, what he was throwing, etc. All that kind of stuff. Cool to share. So if you are looking for that next thing and you haven't messed with the dice, particularly on smallmouth, it's worth investing and doing a little bit with it because, as you can see, I think in his words, 15-1 on the bites. So anyways, tune in to everything we have going with Serious Angler. Of course, we've got our man Louie ripping out some kayak fishing weekly shows, and Andy, Bailey, and I are all going to be back on the schedule here soon. But Bailey is traveling, and yeah, if you are getting ready to maybe put the boat away, I understand it. I want to go hunting, and sometimes it sucks to fish in the cold. But just remember, there's some really big fish that eat in the cold. So, anyways, we got a lot more to my fishing season. I'm excited to get back out on the Super 60 tour, headed out to the Delta, and then presumably making the championship Clear Lake in November. So, a lot to come. And as always, follow along with everything we've got going. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Really, thanks. Okay.